In 20 minutes, Adam Snyder, former 49er offensive lineman, is going to have some very interesting things to say, I do believe, about the 49er quarterback situation. Not only because of his experience as a former player and an offensive lineman, but his career has taken him into coaching and some other things since retiring from the 49ers. And once upon a time, about, maybe 6 years ago or so, he was the offensive line coach at Perry High School in Arizona. And the quarterback of that team was Brock Purdy. So he is up close and personal with Brock, and he is a huge fan, and we want to know why. So Adam thinks that some good things are about to happen for the 49ers. We'll talk to him about it. Be with us in 20 minutes. Back to the phones, Kareem in the Bay Area. Next up on Willard and Dibs. Hi, Kareem. What are you doing?
Oh, man, I'm just listening to you guys right now driving. Not much. I had a little bit to add about the quarterback situation myself. As a Niner fan, I've been a little back and forth on Jimmy G, more back than forth. And I'm just saying, I've been saying this whole time, Jimmy G is just a guy who got the keys to a Ferrari and just was asked not to scratch the paint. And he hasn't scratched the paint. He's been doing the speed limit. But, I mean, it's good to see that Brock Purdy was able to come in and lead the Niners to a victory over a pretty good team, one of the better teams in the NFL this season. I feel like it just proves my point that Jimmy is a game manager, and he's not. I don't think no one thinks he's a superstar or anything like that, but he's just a pretty serviceable quarterback.
So Kareem, can I tell you why it didn't prove your point? Let me tell you why it didn't prove your point. You know where we are with Brock Purdy? We're in the same spot we were with Nick Mullins when he beat the Raiders. Okay, you can't do this off of 3 quarters. I won't allow it. I will not allow it. We don't know yet what Brock Purdy is going to do. What we do know is what a line of second and third stringers have done before with the 49ers when Jimmy's not in. And guess what? It's not what Jimmy does. It's been proven over and over and over and over again. So you're right that Jimmy's not a star. But the idea that he got the keys to the Ferrari and just didn't scratch it, and that's what everybody who gets the keys can do, has been disproven so many times.
Not different teams, though.
So please don't allow yesterday's game to do this to Jimmy again while he's getting ready for surgery, for crying out loud. Let's have a little more respect for this guy rejuvenating this season, which got off to such a wonky start.
Yeah.
If Brock Purdy becomes a thing, awesome. If he ends up in the NFC title game, you're getting lunch. I get it. And maybe he is something that we don't expect. But we've watched this story many times before, and I've watched people try to turn it into, see, Jimmy actually stinks. It's been disproven. And Brock Purdy getting thrown in against a somewhat poor Miami Dolphins defense who didn't prepare for him is not going to be the same as him beating the Bucs or Commanders defense or Seattle on a Thursday night. If he does all of that, we can revisit this conversation for sure.
And this is a different situation than the teams that Mullins and Beathard inherited when Garoppolo was hurt. This
also
team is
good point.
Much better. So, and Brock Purdy, while he doesn't have the same level of experience those guys didn't have much experience either. So Brock Purdy's in a spot with this team where expectations are higher than they were when Jimmy Garoppolo got hurt in 2019, when he tore his ACL and he was done for the year, and you had so much season in front of you. This team is better. And now Brock Purdy's got 5 weeks to navigate this team. As you mentioned, you go 3-2. If you go 2-3 over the final 5, you're still going to be a playoff team if you're the 49ers. You're sitting at 8-4. You go 2-3. You're 10-7. You may not win the division, although I still like your chances to win the division.
Yeah.
Let's say you just beat Seattle and Arizona, and you lose to Washington, Tampa, and the Raiders.
Then you've probably got it.
You probably win the division.
Probably got it.
10-7.
Seattle would almost need to run the table in their other games.
Exactly, because you would win the tiebreaker over Seattle. So the bar for Brock Purdy's not set that high. You only have to win 2 games. If you win 2 games, they have to be the right 2 games. Certainly the Seattle game is the most important game remaining on the schedule. I would say Washington's the second most important, followed by Tampa, then Arizona, then the Raider game in terms of the most important games remaining.
Well, and Seattle's defense, like I think with this, there's also PTSD when we look at Seattle on a Thursday night. The Raiders went in there last week to that building and busted 40 points. This is not LOB, okay?
Nice.
This is not that. This is that. So
it's LOW,
yeah, exactly.
Legion of Whom.
Right. I don't know what Brock's going to do. We don't know who he is yet. So all road games, in theory, are going to be hard for a kid who's a rookie and hasn't gotten even a lot of reps in practice. But Seattle is not this terrifying defense. Not at all. They're not even good. So do I think Brock can go 3-2? I do. I think he can go 3-2. I still expect the 49ers to win the NFC West. They're going to be the odds-on favorite to do it. They're going to be favored in the majority of these games going forward.
And I wonder about that Seattle game, whether or not they'll be favored. We know they're going to be favored against Tampa Bay. They're favored by 3 going into this one. The Bucs coming in off a short week, and they're going to have to travel to do it. And, the 49ers, they mostly emerged from yesterday healthy other than the big injury to Jimmy Garoppolo.
A matchup game. Bucs offense versus the 49er defense. It's like I got a hard time believing the Bucs are going to win that no matter who the hell's quarterbacking 49ers. Like I do, Tom Brady, who offers no mobility and timing passes that are kept in front of you, right? Like he's not going to go over your head. He's going to dink to dink to dink. 49er defense just doesn't. They don't bite to that. Like he's actually, just from a matchup standpoint, exactly who this defense should feast on.
Especially with an offensive line that is beat up, and Nick Bosa, who is like Captain Saccaroni right now, 3 sacks and a forced fumble. All we need is for Kyle Shanahan to talk smack again to Nick Bosa. And, you heard that story where Shanahan apparently went to the defense and said, hey, I thought you guys got outplayed by New Orleans. And Nick Bosa didn't take too kindly to that.
Yeah,
Used it as motivation. You don't often hear Nick Bosa use such strong language, but you look at Nick Bosa and this defense against Tampa in this upcoming game, and it feels like a game where the defense should feast.
Let's go live to Kyle Madsen, who's dressed as Santa Claus today without a beard. Hi, Kyle.
I do have a beard, thank you. It's very light.
Not a Santa beard, though.
No, you're right.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Anyway.
Do you know when the last time, speaking of Tampa Bay's offense, the last time they scored more than 22 points was?
Yes, I have. Well, I have a guess. I'm going to say it was in their loss to the Kansas City Chiefs, 41-31.
Yes, that was week 4.
Week 4. Wow.
They stink.
They stink, and you're going to see it tonight.
Well, their offense stinks.
Watch and their defense is fine. It's not great. The Saints defense is better, I think, than the Bucs defense. The Saints give them all kinds of trouble. What's the over/under in tonight's game? Does anybody have that in front of them? Let me look it up real quick.
It up. I bet you it's 41 would be my prediction.
41? Let's see. What do we got?
Just based on, a couple of good defenses.
Bang on the number.
Oh, it is.
41.
Wow.
Good
That was
job.
just a guess.
Yeah.
Just an absolute guess.
Yeah. Bet the under.
And it's 37.5, by the way, going into next week. Tampa and the 49ers.
Is it really?
37 and a hook.
Holy smokes.
The expectation is Niners 20, Buccaneers 17, which...
that may be.
I would bet the under hard early.
Would you really?
Often. Absolutely. You've got Brock Purdy and a conservative offense. By the way, the Niners held the ball yesterday for 40 minutes. 40 minutes of ball control. I expect Kyle Shanahan to try to follow that same blueprint. Tampa's not going to score more than 17 against the Niners. This one feels like a 17-11 is going to be my early prediction on that one.
I don't think the Saints or the Bucs are going to score more than 15.
Exactly. So bang the under, my friends.
Yeah. Okay.
The only thing that scares me about an underplay is this Niner defense now is bloodthirsty in terms of scoring.
Keep scoring.
Yeah.
Keep pick-sixing and fumble rumble people. Steve in Hillsboro with Willard and Dibbs. Hey, Steve, what are you doing?
I'm supercharging over here.
Not a bad.
Girl. Mark, you brought the point already. I was going to say, Brock Purdy reminds me of when Mullins came in and everybody thought, who's this guy? And, Bex Favre called in and then it kind of, went from there. But it reminds me a lot of that. I think everybody's got to just sit back and say, let's just see what happens in the next couple of weeks and go from there.
Steve, nobody likes that take except for it's a real one. Like, nobody wants to hear this from people because it sounds like you don't have an opinion. See what happens is like one of the worst things you can say in sports media or even at a bar or at a party. Well, we'll see what happens. It's kind of, that's what you say when you want to.
Gotta let it play out.
Yeah, you want to leave to go to the restroom.
Boring.
Or it's like, I'd like to go get a bite to eat now. Oh, what do you think? Well, we'll see what happens. But it's
have a take, don't suck.
But it's factually the only thing we can say right now.
Well, I mean, it's
don't tell me Brock's going to win the Super Bowl, and don't tell me I get what you're saying and I agree with you. All we have right now is what Nick Mullins did against the Raiders, but you cannot definitively say this is going to end up like Mullins. The same way we can't definitively say it's going to end up like Nick Foles or Tom Brady.
Right, but what are we doing in this business if we can't wildly predict and get into hyperbole and conjecture?
You can say whatever you want, but my point is this. When we get to, they can still win the Super Bowl. No, they can't. I'm going to do December. Let's do December.
Yeah, of course, but in the meantime,
here's my take.
Until we get to Sunday, you got to have one of the two opinions.
No, here's my take. He can beat the Bucs, and he's going to still win the division. That's my take. I don't know what he's going to look like against Jalen Hurts. We don't have enough data yet.
We don't even know if he's going to make it to Sunday to take on Tampa Bay. He might slip and fall on the slick pavement in Santa Clara and be out.
Here's what we know. We know that Brock came to play. He doesn't get scared when the red light comes on. I had a TV exec tell me that one time about radio people. He goes, you guys, you're the ones who know how to make stuff up as you go along.
Oh, yeah.
You're the ones who don't need a script. He goes, I don't care about putting a quote-unquote radio person on TV. The only thing, I got one question. Do their eyes bug out when the red light comes on?
Right.
When you're looking at a camera, do you look like, oh, crap, I'm in a camera, and you freak out? But I don't worry about what you guys have to say because you people do this. This is what you do. There's no script.
I thought that was my big edge on Wheel of Fortune because I got up there and our episode was about to start, and I looked to my left, and Tenzi, the great Washington, D.C. Civil rights advocate, she had that look. She was glazed over.
Oh, boy.
She was not ready for the moment. And I looked to my right, and the husky lawyer from Oklahoma City who ended up winning $48,000 in the trip to St. Kitts.
Damn.
Wasn't nervous. And I wasn't nervous at all. I'm running
you're
material.
freaking Dan Dibley.
Dude, Pat Vanna. Dude, I was on fire. I was having so much fun. And then that damn wheel got me.
Oh, that wheel.
3 bankrupts. But to your point, like sometimes you've been on TV with people. It's like, dude, are you going to be okay?
Are you all right?
Are you going to pull through?
Yeah. Do I need to poke you? Like, kick you in the shin? Are you here?
And Brock Purdy didn't have that.
None of it.
Yeah.
And so that's a huge answer because every sport, every locker room, dugout, clubhouse, whatever you want to call things, they all know the same thing, which is what happens when the lights come on. We've watched this with 4A players in baseball or training camp darlings in the NFL. Holy smokes, they look great in practice. How many times have you thought you nailed your friends in a fantasy draft because in round 9, you got the guy that Peter King went and saw in Kalamazoo and told you, holy hell, wait till you see this guy on a field. Then the red light came on. You're like, oh, my God, he can't play. Why do you think drafting in the NFL is so hard? Oh, my God, he looks great. Look, he can do this, got an arm, get the legs, beep, boop, boop. Holy crap, red light came on, he stinks.
Right.
So,
and you never know until you see it.
That's a big answer that Brock Purdy gave everybody yesterday.
But let me just ask you one question.
That's only the first step on the ladder.
Let me just ask you one question, and God, I hope you answer it, Mark. If not, my whole week could be ruined.
Uh-oh.
Can the 49ers still win the Super Bowl? That's all I want to know. Forget about, I'm taking it one stab at a time, and I'm worried about December and this and that. Yes or no, Mark? Can they win the damn Super Bowl?
What's up next on The Game is brought to you by Fremont Bank, full service banking, no compromises. It is also sponsored by Bed Bath
and Berg. Sorry. Never interrupt the read, Dibs. They pay good money for this.
I was about to give you a good Darth Vader Beyond.
Thank you.
And you bukkaked me.
Okay. 3, 2, and 1.
Bed Bath. and beyond.
Thank you.
Adam Snyder, he knows Brock Purdy better than you do. And he will answer the question if the 49ers are still going to win the Super Bowl.